Welcome, dreamers and history lovers, to Twilight Tale, where we journey into the past, uncovering secrets from civilizations long gone. Tonight, we venture deep into the mysteries of an ancient culture that still fascinates us today. The Mayans, known for their incredible achievements in astronomy, mathematics, and art, left behind a legacy that has perplexed scholars for centuries. But among all their wonders, none stand out quite as much as their extraordinary calendar, a system so complex yet so precise, it still holds secrets we have yet to fully understand. In this episode, we unravel the secrets of the ancient Mayan calendar, a tool that not only predicted the cycles of time, but also shaped the lives of the people who used it. So get comfortable and allow the soft glow of history to wash over you as we uncover the ancient wisdom of the Maya. A faint breeze stirs the ancient jungle, carrying with it the scent of damp earth and the whisper of leaves brushing against forgotten stones. The sun is low in the sky, casting its golden light through the thick, moss-covered trees, dappling the jungle floor with quiet, shifting shadows. Beneath the canopy, where the silence presses close, lies a place that has not been touched by time's steady march for centuries, a sacred ruin half buried in the embrace of nature, forgotten by all but the wind and the earth. The monument stands still, as it has for millennia. Its stones, darkened with age and the weight of countless rains, hold markings, intricate, spiraling carvings etched with the delicate precision of a long-lost civilization. The Mayan calendar, it is said, was more than a record of time. These stones speak of cycles, of cosmic rhythms that bind the stars to the very breath of the earth itself. As we step closer, a soft chill fills the air, the weight of the calendar pressing upon us, a forgotten truth lingering in the silence. The circles beckon. We are invited not to read, but to feel, to listen with the quiet of the soul. For the calendar is not simply a tool for measuring the days, it is a sacred map, a journey through the endless spiral of time. Beneath the silence of the jungle, time seems to hold its breath. The calendar, carved into stone with an artistry both divine and precise, weaves its intricate spiral across the surface of the ruin. The ancient symbols, worn and weathered, remain undisturbed, their meaning drifting through the years like dust on the wind. The calendar's design, concentric circles radiating outward, speaks to the eternal cycles of life and death, the birth and fall of civilizations, the rise and fall of the stars. It is said that the Maya saw time not as a line but as a cycle, endlessly repeating in sacred rhythm. The glyphs etched into these stones are not mere marks, they are the heartbeat of the universe itself, each cycle a pulse of creation, an echo of the divine. Each year, each month, each day was not a new beginning, but a continuation, a sacred loop that carried the wisdom of the ages within it. As we trace our fingers along the worn carvings, we are drawn deeper into this ancient rhythm. The air around us grows still, and the hum of the jungle quiets. Beneath the surface of these circles, hidden within the layers of time, are memories, echoes of forgotten rituals, of sacred offerings and prayers spoken to the gods, asking for guidance in the face of the cyclical nature of existence. The Maya believed that time's cycles were not merely terrestrial. Each cycle of the calendar was connected to the cosmos, to the movements of the stars and planets. The Tzolk'in, with its 260 days, mirrored the movements of Venus, the morning and evening star, a symbol of life and death, rebirth and decay. The Haab, the solar calendar, tracked the rhythms of the earth itself, the rise and fall of the seasons, the planting and harvest. And the long count, that most sacred of calendars, traced the endless march of time, a history reaching back to the creation of the world and extending forward into the unknown. Beneath the moonlit sky, we see these symbols with new eyes. The calendar is not simply a record, it is a portal, a doorway through which we can glimpse the sacredness of time itself. It is as if the stones are alive, breathing with the ancient pulse of the cosmos. The stars that fill the night sky are not distant and cold, but intimate and near, their rhythms entwining with our own, echoing across the ages. Perhaps the most profound mystery lies not in the calendar itself, but in its very existence. These stones, carved by hands long since turned to dust, were once instruments of the highest knowledge, a map, a guide, a sacred portal into the mysteries of life, death, and the cosmos. In this quiet space, we find that the calendar is not just a tool of measurement, but a reflection of the very nature of existence, cyclical, eternal, never-ending. We are reminded that time is not linear, as we so often believe. It is a circle, a spiral, ever returning, ever renewing. As we stand before the monument, the calendar's spirals seem to pulse in the quiet light, each curve of the stone telling a story older than the jungle itself. We are drawn into the mystery, not with the desire for answers, but with the understanding that the truth, the sacred wisdom of the Maya, is not meant to be understood in full. It is meant to be felt, to be experienced, like the ebb and flow of the tide, or the steady breath of the earth. Perhaps it was never meant to be found, this knowledge. Perhaps it was always meant to be hidden, waiting for the right moment, for the right hearts to seek it. The calendar, with its spiral of cycles, does not demand answers. It demands presence. It asks only that we open our hearts to the mystery, that we listen to the whispers of the past, carried on the wind. The stones do not reveal their secrets easily. They speak in riddles, in symbols, in the very fabric of time itself. As the sun dips below the horizon, and the shadows of the jungle grow long, the calendar fades into the mist. The symbols blur and soften, their meanings slipping away like sand through the fingers. Yet the presence of the calendar lingers, a sacred, silent promise. The cycles will continue, the stars will rise and fall, and time will return again. But in what form we cannot say. The calendar, now bathed in the soft light of the fading day, offers no answers, only the quiet reminder that time is a circle and we are part of it. Perhaps we have always been part of it, moving in rhythm with the pulse of the earth, the sky, the stars. And as we walk away, leaving the monument behind, we carry its quiet wisdom with us, a reminder that time is never lost, never forgotten. It simply turns, again and again, like the silent turning of a wheel. The whispers tell us that in the end, perhaps we are all part of this ancient, endless circle, travelers on a path that winds both forward and backward, meeting ourselves in the sacred rhythm of time's eternal dance. As we leave the jungle behind, the last rays of the sun fading into dusk, we wonder, what if the calendar was not meant to be deciphered, but to be felt? What if, like the stars above, it is not a map to follow, but a song to listen to, one that calls to us, softly, from across the veil of time? And so, in the silence of the fading night, we drift into the quiet space between worlds, carried by the ancient rhythm of the calendar, as the stars above spin their endless dance in the sky. In the dim light of the fading moon, we find ourselves in the heart of a forgotten city, its walls half crushed by the weight of centuries. A veil of mist hangs heavy in the air, wrapping the ruins in a soft, unspoken mystery. Here, where time seems to pause, the ancient stones whisper to us, their secrets long obscured by dust and shadow. The city has long since surrendered to the earth, but the stones remain, etched with strange glyphs, their meanings lost but not forgotten. These glyphs, carved in silence by hands that have crumbled to dust, speak of more than mere history. They speak of time itself. The moonlight shimmers faintly on the broken stones, casting soft silver beams across the worn surfaces. Each stone tablet is a story, a fragment of a forgotten language woven from both the earthly and the celestial. The glyphs glow gently in the night, as if they are calling to us, inviting us to step closer, to listen. We trace the shapes with our fingers, the lines smooth and cool under the touch, each curve of the symbols curling like the spiral of time itself. What do they mean? Perhaps these symbols are not meant to be read in a simple way, not as one might read a book, but as one listens to the wind or gazes at the stars. These are the rhythms of the universe, the breath of existence itself, encoded in the stone. Beneath the silence, the stone tablets seem to hold a deeper truth. There is no rush to understand them, no urgency. As we move through the ruins, we feel that the glyphs are not a record of the past alone, but a map for the future, a guide to the eternal cycles of the world. The Maya, who once walked these stones, saw time not as a straight line, but as a circle, endless, repeating, unbroken. The glyphs were more than tools of measurement. They were threads connecting the human soul to the stars, to the very pulse of the cosmos. Each cycle, each year, each breath was sacred. The calendar, once thought to be the preserve of rulers and priests, reveals itself to be something deeper, a bridge to the divine, a rhythm guiding the soul's journey through life's many cycles. It is said that these glyphs speak not just of the days and seasons, but of the eternal forces that shape us all. The moon, the stars, the winds, all are part of this sacred rhythm. These stones, long buried beneath the weight of forgotten time, are not just relics of a forgotten civilization, they are markers on a journey that continues even now. The glyphs are not only ancient, but alive, resonating with the energy of the earth and the heavens. They echo with a language that transcends time, a language of the soul, of the divine forces that shape all things. As we decipher the meanings of the glyphs, the deeper understanding begins to emerge. The calendar was never meant to be merely a record of time, but a living, breathing force, an instrument for aligning the human soul with the cosmic rhythms of the universe. The Maya, in their wisdom, understood that the soul itself is part of a greater cycle, the cycles of the stars, of birth and death, of creation and destruction. The glyphs were their way of recording this truth, of reminding their people of the eternal nature of existence. It is not the passing of years that defines us, but the patterns, the rhythms, the cycles that guide us along the way. With each glyph we uncover, a deeper silence grows around us, as if the ruins themselves are listening. The walls, once so full of life and activity, now stand still and waiting. We are no longer just explorers of an ancient city, but participants in the eternal dance of time. The stones are not simply a record of the past, but a living testament to the interconnectedness of all things, of the human soul, the stars, and the earth. Time itself is not an enemy, but a guide, and in the heart of this ancient city, we begin to understand that we are not alone in our journey. We are part of a greater whole, a larger rhythm that binds us all together. The night deepens and the moon climbs higher in the sky, casting its silver light across the ruins. The stone tablets glow faintly, and the glyphs, though ancient, seem to pulse with a quiet energy. As we stand in the midst of the city, we realize that the true meaning of the glyphs will never be fully revealed, not in the way we hope to understand it. Perhaps the meaning is not in the translation, but in the experience itself. Perhaps the truth is not in the understanding, but in the journey. The glyphs are not just records of the past, they are whispers, fragments of a divine language that speaks to us only when we are ready to listen. We stand deep in the ruins, surrounded by the silent stone tablets, and we wonder, what was lost in translation? What knowledge slipped through the cracks of time, buried beneath the weight of centuries? Perhaps it was never meant to be fully understood. Perhaps some truths are meant to remain hidden, like the stars in the night sky, waiting for us to find our place in the vastness of the universe. As the night presses on, we feel the weight of the ancient city surrounding us, not as a reminder of loss, but as a call to remember the sacred rhythms that govern our lives, the deep cycles of the earth and the stars, and the language of the soul. In the stillness of the ruins, the silence speaks louder than any words. Perhaps in the end, the glyphs were not meant to be read, but to be felt. Perhaps the true meaning of the calendar is not found in the symbols themselves, but in the sacred space between the past and the present, where time ceases to exist and we are left with only the eternal rhythm of the cosmos. As the first light of dawn begins to filter through the trees, casting soft golden rays across the ruins, the glyphs fade into the shadows. The city, once so full of life, now stands silent, as if it too has learned to listen. We are left with the echoes of time, suspended in the stillness, waiting for us to return when we are ready. Perhaps it was never meant to be found, this understanding, this knowledge. Perhaps it will always remain just out of reach, like the distant stars, marking the rhythms of existence that we can never fully grasp. But still, we carry the memory with us, like a soft whisper in the dark, a reminder that time is not something to be measured, but something to be felt. And as we leave the ruins behind, we are reminded the glyphs are not lost. They have always been here, waiting for us to listen. waiting for us to remember. Beneath the dense canopy of the jungle, where the air hums softly with the weight of centuries, there lies a place untouched by time's unforgiving hand. The shadows stretch long across the stone, where faint cartings, worn by millennia of rain and earth, trace the sacred lines of the Mayan calendar, a tool of time unlike any the world had ever known. It is here, in this quiet realm, that we are drawn, where the long count calendar unfurls like a secret map to the soul's journey through the vast, uncharted realms of time. The sun dips low, casting its golden light through the trees in gentle shafts, illuminating the figures carved into stone. The stone feels alive in this sacred space, breathing with the rhythm of ages past. And in the midst of this ancient, still place, we see him, the solitary priest, his presence as old as the ruins themselves. His hands, wise and steady, trace the numbers and symbols of the long count. His fingers move with reverence, as if each mark on the stone is a note in a celestial symphony, a vibration of the universe's breath. In the quiet, his voice echoes softly, speaking the sacred language of the calendar, a language that speaks not of mere days, but of epochs, of creation, and of destruction. It is said, he begins, his voice a mere murmur against the soundless jungle, that the long count does not simply mark the passage of years, but the vast movements of the cosmos, the great cycles of life, death, and rebirth. The priest's words are not forceful, but gentle, as if they are a wind passing through the trees. He speaks of a time far older than any human memory, of a calendar so precise that it was used to chart not just the cycles of the moon or the sun, but the very essence of existence itself. It was a map of the soul's journey through countless lifetimes, a bridge between the mortal and the divine, between the here and the beyond. Each day, each year, each cycle was not just an increment of time, it was a step in an eternal journey. The long count calendar, with its complex structure of baktuns, katuns, and tuns, was a sacred tool. Each count held a deeper meaning, a truth that transcended the surface of things. The priest moves slowly, his fingers brushing across the glyphs, each touch as delicate as the flutter of a butterfly's wings. As he speaks, the stones seem to come alive with the weight of his words. To the Maya, he continues, time was not a straight line, but a circle, a spiral, forever returning, ever renewing. The stone beneath his fingers pulses faintly, as if it is remembering, calling out to those who would listen. It is not just the years that pass, but the soul's passage through time, an endless journey, marked by cycles. As we follow his teachings, the landscape of time unfurls before us. The jungle, the temple, the ruins, they all melt into the distant past, as though we are standing on the very edge of time itself. Here, in this sacred space, the Mayan people understood that time's passage was not a force to be feared, but a force to be embraced. Time was not a prison, but a guide, a rhythm that bound all things, from the smallest insect to the greatest stars. Each cycle of the calendar was like a heartbeat, a breath of the earth, a moment in the sacred rhythm of life. The priest pauses, his fingers hovering over a particularly worn section of stone. He gazes into the distance, where the jungle fades into mist. "This," he whispers softly, "is where the journey begins and where it ends." His voice carries the weight of countless ages, as though he is speaking not just to us, but to the very fabric of existence. It is here that the long count becomes not just a measure of time, but a spiritual map, a blueprint for the soul's journey through countless lifetimes. With every word, the air grows thicker, filled with the silent pulse of the universe. The journey deepens. The long count is not just a measurement, but a prophecy. It is said that the calendar's final date, the mysterious end date of the 13th Baktun, held a special significance, a moment in time believed by many to signal the end of an era. The date came and passed, but did it mark the end of the world as some feared, or was it simply the beginning of a new cycle, a new age, just as the Mayans had foreseen? As the priest's words fade into silence, we are left in the stillness of the jungle, the air heavy with mystery. In the quiet of this sacred space, we feel the weight of the calendar's teachings. Time is not something we can control, but something we must learn to move with, like the tide of the ocean or the rhythm of the stars. The priest's hands rest gently on the stone, and the stones themselves seem to breathe with him, as if they too are part of the eternal cycle. We step back, looking at the long count calendar in its entirety. Each number, each symbol is part of a greater whole, a cosmic dance that spans not just millennia, but eternity. The calendar is not just a tool for measuring time, but a living testament to the sacred rhythms of the universe, a bridge between the past and the future, the mortal and the divine. And as the sun begins to set behind the ancient ruins, casting long shadows across the stone, we are left with a quiet question. What is the true meaning of this calendar? What wisdom does it hold about the fate of time itself? Perhaps it was never meant to be fully understood. Perhaps the calendar's true meaning is not something we are meant to grasp, but something we are meant to feel, to experience, like the shifting of the seasons or the passing of the moon across the sky. The long count does not promise answers, but it offers us something deeper, a reminder that time is sacred and that we too are part of its endless cycle. As the final rays of the sun fade, we are left standing in the quiet of the ruins, suspended in the sacred rhythm of time, waiting to be carried forward by its unseen hands. And perhaps, in the end, we are meant to walk this path of time not with fear, but with reverence, knowing that each moment, each cycle, is a step on a journey that will continue long after we have gone. The long count may end, but time, like the stars, will never cease its eternal dance. Some truths, after all, are not meant to be fully understood, only felt, as we move with the rhythm of the cosmos, ever forward, ever inward into the mysteries of the infinite. In the heart of an ancient jungle, where the air is thick with the scent of damp earth and the soft murmur of wind through trees, there stands a temple. The stones are worn and crumbled by centuries of rain and time, but still they hold something sacred, a whisper, a rhythm. The sacred Tzolk'in, the heartbeat of Mayan timekeeping, pulses in the air. Beneath the thick canopy, where the sky is muted, the temple remains a quiet testament to the wisdom that once flowed here, like an unbroken thread woven into the very fabric of the cosmos. We stand before the temple now, where silence wraps around us like a blanket, broken only by the faintest echo of chanting. The rhythmic hum of the priests' voices fills the air, soft and constant, as if each word they speak is not merely an offering, but a part of the cosmic rhythm that guides the universe. Each chant is like the breath of creation itself, an invocation of the sacred energy that moves through everything, the stars above, the earth beneath, the very pulse of time itself. It is said that these chants align with the cycles of the Tzolk'in, a 260-day calendar that intertwines the earthly with the divine. Each day in this calendar is not just a measurement of time, but a living, breathing entity. It is alive with energy, guiding, shaping, transforming. Each day in the Tzolk'in is not just a number, but a doorway to the divine, a sacred opportunity for transformation. Each day holds the potential for change, for renewal, for a deeper connection with the universe. As we trace the markings on the stone, we are drawn deeper into the mystery of the Tzolk'in. The energy of each day pulses softly beneath our fingers, each symbol whispering a truth that is as old as time itself. The Tzolk'in, though deeply rooted in the earth, is also intimately tied to the stars, to the movements of the cosmos. The Maya believed that the days were not isolated moments, but part of a larger cosmic rhythm, a dance between the earthly and the divine. Each day was aligned with a specific energy, a force that shaped the lives of the people, guiding them through the cycles of nature, of the seasons, of life and death. As we move deeper into the temple, the air becomes thick with the scent of incense, and the faint glow of torches flickers in the darkness. The priest's chant rises and falls, blending with the sound of distant wind, as though the very earth itself is singing. The sacred cycle of the Tzolk'in is not just a record of days, but a spiritual journey, a journey through the heart of creation, through the forces that bind all things together. It is said that the Tzolk'in guides the Maya not only through the passage of time, but through the mysteries of existence itself, helping them to understand their place in the cosmos. Each day in the Tzolk'in is marked by a divine energy, a cosmic force that shapes the lives of the people. Some days are bright with light, filled with the energy of creation, while others are darker, marked by moments of reflection, of change. The calendar moves in cycles, repeating itself, never ending, just as life itself moves in cycles, birth and death, creation and destruction, day and night. The priest moves through the temple, each step in rhythm with Tzolk'in, his hand brushing gently over the carved symbols. His breath matches the cadence of the chant, slow and steady, as if he is one with the calendar, one with the rhythm of the universe. The journey takes us through the mysteries of these 260 days. Each day is a sacred opportunity for transformation, a chance to align ourselves with the cosmic forces that govern our lives. The Tzolk'in teaches that time is not a straight line, but a spiral, always returning, always renewing itself. As we walk the path of the Tzolk'in, we begin to sense that this sacred calendar is more than a record of days. It is a living, breathing entity, guiding us through the cycles of life and death, helping us to understand the mysteries of our existence. The moon rises above the temple, casting its silver light across the ruins. The chanting of the priests fades, and in the stillness we are left with the quiet pulse of the Tzolk'in, the rhythm of the universe moving around us. The calendar, with its intricate cycles and divine energies, becomes not just a map of time, but a reflection of our own journey. Each day, each moment is an opportunity to step into the flow of the universe, to align ourselves with the sacred rhythm that guides all things. And as we stand in the silence of the temple, beneath the gaze of the moon, we are left with a question, one that lingers in the air like the fading echoes of the priest's chant. What if our own lives are similarly marked by a hidden rhythm, a cosmic pulse that we have yet to discover? Perhaps, like the Maya, we too are walking through cycles, unknowingly guided by forces beyond our understanding. Perhaps, in the quiet moments, we too can feel the breath of creation moving through us, guiding us toward transformation, toward understanding. And so, the question remains, unanswered, suspended in the stillness. What if the rhythm of the Tzolk'in is not confined to the past, but is alive in us now, waiting to be discovered, waiting to guide us through the sacred cycles of our own lives? Perhaps it is not meant to be found, but to be felt, like the whisper of the wind, or the soft murmur of the stars, beckoning us to listen, to align, to move with the eternal pulse of the cosmos. In the stillness of the temple, beneath the moon's gaze, we listen, and perhaps, in time, we will hear the rhythm that has always been there, waiting for us to discover it. In the stillness of the morning, the sun rises slowly, spilling its soft golden light across the land. The air is thick with the scent of earth, dew on grass, and the faint whisper of a distant breeze. The world stirs awake, the first light of day creeping through the ancient jungle that surrounds the open field. Here, in this sacred space, the rhythm of time once moved differently, not in hurried steps, but in quiet, measured breaths, each one attuned to the eternal pulse of nature. Beneath the expansive sky, the cycles of life were recorded in the earth itself, not in ink, but in the turning of the seasons. The Haab, the Mayan calendar, moves like the sun, casting its shadow across the fabric of the year. We begin in a field where the earth, bathed in the soft warmth of the morning sun, holds the rhythm of life itself. It is here, beneath the unclouded sky, that the Maya once measured the passage of the year. The Haab, with its 365 days, mirrors the solar cycle, the rise and fall of the seasons, the steady turning of the earth, the movement of stars above. Each day in this calendar is a note in a divine symphony, a beat in the cosmic pulse that connects all things. The Maya, in their wisdom, did not merely track time as we do today. For them, time was not just a way of measuring the days, it was a reflection of the divine, a sacred rhythm that governed not only the world but their very lives. As we wander through this field, the earth beneath our feet holds the memory of their lives. The Haab was the map they used to navigate the shifting tides of nature, the cosmic pulse of existence. The months of the Haab were not just markers on a calendar, but symbols of the movements of the sun and the stars, the hidden forces of the universe that shaped the rise and fall of civilizations, the planting and harvesting of crops, the moments of creation and destruction. We pause and gaze toward the horizon, where the sun begins to climb higher in the sky, casting long shadows across the earth. The Maya knew this light well. They understood that it was not merely the sun, but a divine force, a mirror of the rhythms of the cosmos. As the seasons shifted and the sun's path changed, they too would shift, moving with the natural world, aligning themselves with the sacred cycle. It is said that the Haab was a reflection of the Earth's own journey through time, a dance between the sun and the stars, guiding every living thing with its unbroken rhythm. Each month, each day was a step in the dance, leading the Maya through the sacred calendar of life. The Haab divided the year into 18 months, each month holding a unique energy, a specific purpose tied to the movements of the natural world. The first month, Pop, was a time of beginnings, a moment for new life to take root. The months that followed marked the cycles of growth, flowering, and harvest. Each moment, each month was tied to the pulse of the earth, the ebb and flow of life. The Maya understood that their lives were part of something greater, a cosmic rhythm that flowed through the very heart of creation. They lived in harmony with it, weaving their lives into the tapestry of nature, guided by the forces of the sun, the stars, and the earth beneath their feet. In the quiet of the field, we trace the path of the sun, watching as its light grows stronger, the day unfolding around us. The Maya saw the sun as both a giver of life and a marker of time, its daily journey across the sky echoing the cycles of existence. It is said that the Haab calendar mirrored the sun's journey, each day marking a new step in the unfolding of the year, a new chapter in the eternal rhythm of creation. And just as the sun rises and falls, the seasons shift, each one bringing with it its own energy, its own purpose. The Maya planted their crops in accordance with the Haab, guided by its rhythm, knowing that the right time for planting and harvesting was not determined by human hands, but by the divine order of the cosmos. As we continue our journey through the Haab, we come to understand that this calendar was not simply a tool for tracking the days. It was a spiritual journey, a map of the soul's passage through the cycles of life. The Maya saw the Haab not just as a reflection of the natural world, but as a mirror of their connection to the divine. Each cycle, each season was a step in their journey toward understanding the mysteries of existence. The calendar was a reminder that time was not something to be measured, but something to be lived in harmony with, something to be honored, just as the sun and the stars were honored. The Haab teaches us that time is not linear, not a straight line moving inexorably toward an end, but a circle, a cycle, always returning, always renewing itself. The calendar's rhythm is a reminder that life too is cyclical, that we, like the seasons, are born, grow, and fade, only to return again in another form. The Maya lived with this understanding, aligning themselves with the divine cycles that governed their world. And as we stand in this quiet field, watching the sun rise higher in the sky, we too are reminded of the cycles that govern our own lives. Perhaps, like the Maya, we too are living in tune with a calendar we cannot always see, a rhythm we cannot always hear, but one that guides us nonetheless, moving us along our path, step by step, through the seasons of our own existence. The sun climbs higher still, and the light of day fills the field, casting long shadows across the earth. The cycle of the Haab continues, as it always has. It is a cycle that is as old as the stars themselves, as eternal as the rhythm of life. And as we stand in this moment, we are left with a question, a quiet whisper that echoes through the stillness of the field. What if we too are part of this sacred rhythm? What if our own lives are marked by a hidden cycle, a cosmic calendar that moves with us, guiding us, just as the sun guides the seasons? Perhaps it was never meant to be seen, this calendar, this rhythm that moves through the world like a silent pulse. Perhaps it is meant only to be felt, to be experienced in the quiet moments of our lives, when we pause, like the sun in the sky, and listen to the sacred rhythms that guide us. Some rhythms are not meant to be understood, but to be lived, like the turning of the seasons or the movement of the stars. And as we stand in the field, beneath the sun's warm embrace, we feel the sacred pulse of the Haab around us, an ancient rhythm, a cycle that has always been here, waiting for us to remember. Perhaps, in time, we will come to understand that we too are part of the cycle, part of the eternal dance of creation, waiting to be guided by the hidden calendar that moves through our lives, just as it has always moved through the world. The night is still, and the air is heavy with the weight of ancient whispers. Above, the sky stretches endlessly, its deep velvet hue adorned with 1,000 scattered stars. In the quiet of the moment, there is a profound silence, the kind that holds the weight of centuries, of knowledge lost and knowledge waiting to be found. As we stand beneath this vast expanse, we are drawn to the moon, casting its soft silver light over the world below. The stars seem to pulse gently, like the beat of an ancient heart, each one marking the passage of time, the movement of cycles, the unfolding of destiny. It is said that the ancient Maya looked to the stars as guides, tracing their paths as they traced their own. The night sky to them was not just a blanket of darkness, but a map, a mirror of the eternal dance between light and shadow, life and death, creation and destruction. Beneath the quiet glow of the moon, the stars whisper their secrets, and we listen, for in their silent rhythm we can almost hear the echo of a question that has lingered through the ages. What happens when the great cycle of time reaches its end? In the quiet of the jungle, amidst the ruins of a long-forgotten temple, we find ourselves standing at the threshold of an ancient mystery, the end of the 13th Bakhtan in the Mayan calendar. The Baktan, a measure of time stretching over thousands of years, marks the grand cycles of existence. The 13th Baktan, which ended in December of 2012, has long been surrounded by mystery and prophecy. Some believed it foretold the end of the world, a cataclysmic moment where the fabric of existence would unravel. Others, though, saw it differently, as the beginning of a new era, an age of enlightenment, a time of rebirth. The Maya, who spent centuries tracking the cycles of time, saw time not as a straight line, but as a great wheel, ever turning, ever renewing. We stand in the shadow of this great wheel, tracing the steps of the Maya, our fingers brushing the ancient stones etched with symbols of the calendar. The stones are weathered, cracked by time, but they still hum with a quiet energy, as though they are alive with the memory of the ages. The symbols carved into their surface speak of a time long past, but also of a time yet to come. The Maya, with their deep understanding of the celestial rhythms, saw the end of the 13th Baktan not as a final end, but as a transition, the closing of one chapter and the opening of another, as the calendar turned once more. As we trace these ancient symbols, we begin to understand that the Maya did not see time in the same way we do. For them, time was sacred, not merely a measurement of the days, but a living, breathing force that shaped the very fabric of existence. The long count, the calendar that spans the ages, was a reflection of the cosmos itself. The Maya saw the movements of the stars, the rising and setting of the sun, the changing of the seasons as all part of a great cosmic cycle, a rhythm that connected the heavens and the earth. The 13th Baktan marked the end of one of these cycles, but in the Maya's understanding, it was not an end at all. It was simply the turning of a page in the great book of time, the moment when one age gave way to the next. We follow the path of this great cycle, moving through the ancient ruins, listening to the silence that surrounds us. The air is thick with the echoes of a past that is still alive in the stones, in the symbols, in the very rhythm of the earth. As we look up at the sky, the stars seem to move with us, their light steady and constant, a reminder that time is always in motion. What did the Maya believe would happen when the great cycle reached its end? Was it a prophecy of destruction, a warning of the world's collapse? Or was it a prophecy of renewal, a promise that the world would be reborn, like the sun rising after the longest night? As we move deeper into the heart of the temple, the shadows grow long, and the air grows heavy with the weight of this ancient question. The Maya believed that the end of the 13th Baktan would not be a moment of finality, but a moment of transformation. The calendar, like the cycles of life, death, and rebirth, moves not in a straight line, but in a spiral, each turn bringing us closer to understanding, to enlightenment. The 13th Baktan, then, was not an ending at all, but the opening of a new age, an age where the veil between the earthly and the divine would grow thinner, where the wisdom of the stars would shine more brightly, guiding the way forward. The path we walk is bathed in the soft light of the moon, the ruins around us fading into the mist. As we stand in the heart of this sacred place, we are reminded of the Maya's profound connection to the rhythms of the cosmos. They understood that time was not something we could control, but something we must move with, like the tide of the ocean, like the breath of the earth. The end of the 13th Baktun was not an end, but a turning, a shift in the cosmic tide. It was a reminder that all things are connected, that life, death, and rebirth are part of an eternal cycle, a dance that moves through the universe, through the stars, through us. As the night deepens, the temple grows quiet, and the stars above seem to pulse with an ancient rhythm. The mysteries of the 13th Baktun and the cycles of the Mayan calendar remain, just as they always have, waiting for us to listen, to understand. Perhaps the end of this great cycle is not something to fear, but something to embrace. Perhaps it is not an ending at all, but simply the turning of a page, the beginning of another cycle, another chapter in the great book of time. We stand beneath the vast sky, the stars above us like ancient beacons, guiding us through the mystery of time. What if the calendar's end is not an ending, but a new beginning? What if the Maya were right, that the great cycle of time never truly ends, but simply returns, again and again, like the turning of the seasons, like the rising of the sun after the darkest night? In the quiet of the ruins, beneath the shimmering light of the stars, we are left with a single haunting thought. Perhaps it was never meant to be found, this secret of the calendar. Perhaps it was meant to be felt, to be lived, as we move in tune with the cosmic rhythm, the great wheel of time that turns through us all. Some mysteries only reveal themselves when we are ready to listen, and in this quiet moment, beneath the gaze of the stars, we listen. The air is thick with the weight of ancient silence, and in the stillness of the jungle, a profound rhythm begins to pulse, as if the earth itself is quietly holding its breath. The first light of day barely touches the canopy, casting long, delicate shadows that stretch across the ruins of a forgotten temple. In this sacred space, two concentric wheels spin in the depths of memory. The wheels are not of iron or wood, but of time itself, ancient, eternal, tracing their slow, purposeful path through the very fabric of existence. Their movement is silent, but if we listen closely enough, we can hear the faintest echo of their turning. They are the calendar round, two celestial cycles, the Tzolk'in and Haab, moving together in perfect harmony, creating a dance that shapes the very pulse of the cosmos. It is said that the Maya understood time not as a linear march, but as a circular dance, where each step is connected to the next and the next, in a sacred rhythm that reverberates through the stars, the seasons, and the breath of life. The calendar round, this divine fusion of the Tzolk'in and Haab, forms the foundation of the Mayan timekeeping system, marking the days and the cycles of the cosmos in a way that reflects the eternal flow of existence. Each of these cycles moves in perfect harmony, and together they create a dance that governs the movement of time itself. We stand in the shadow of the great wheels, tracing their slow, sacred motion with our minds. The Tzolk'in, with its 260 days, marks the sacred movements of the stars, while the Haab, with its 365 days, tracks the rhythm of the solar year. Together they intertwine, their cycles overlapping and spiraling in a perfect, infinite dance. As we gaze at the intersection of these cycles, we begin to understand the beauty of their harmony. Each wheel turns, each day passing in its own rhythm, yet both are part of a greater whole, a cosmic dance that is both ancient and new, timeless and present. The air around us grows heavy, charged with the energy of the dance. The ancient stones beneath our feet, worn by time and covered with moss, seem to hum with the rhythms of the calendar round. As the two cycles move in tandem, they create an intricate dance of time, each day marked by a specific rhythm, a unique vibration that connects the heavens to the earth, the stars to the soil. It is as though each moment is not merely a fleeting point in time, but a sacred beat, a pulse in the heart of the universe. The Tzolk'in moves with the cycles of Venus, the morning and evening star, while the Haab tracks the sun's journey across the sky. Together, they form a perfect balance, a harmonious rhythm that governs all life. The Maya saw their existence as a part of this rhythm, each life, each action, each breath a moment in the sacred dance of the universe. As the days of the calendar round pass, the Maya understood that they too were part of this great dance. They were not separate from time, but a reflection of it, their lives intertwined with the movement of the stars, the shifting of the seasons, and the ever-turning wheels of the cosmos. We walk through the ruins, the faintest echoes of a long-forgotten chant still reverberating in the still air. The priests once stood here, watching the movements of the cycles, aligning themselves with the sacred rhythm that governed the universe. The stones that surround us are marked with symbols, each one representing a different part of the calendar round, the sacred days, the months, the cycles of the sun and stars. As we trace the carvings with our fingers, we begin to sense the deeper meaning of these symbols, the profound connection they represent between the human soul and the cosmos. These markings are not just signs on stone, they are the reflection of a living, breathing universe, a universe that moves in perfect rhythm, where every moment is part of a greater dance. As the sun rises higher in the sky, its rays breaking through the canopy above, we feel the warmth of the day on our skin, the pulse of the earth beneath our feet. The moment seems to stretch, suspended in the space between breaths. The calendar round continues to turn, as it always has, its rhythm carrying the pulse of the cosmos forward. With each passing day, we are reminded that time is not a fixed line, but a flowing current, a sacred rhythm that connects all things. And as we move through the cycles of our own lives, we begin to understand that we too are part of this dance. In the quiet of the temple, where the shadows deepen and the air cools, the dance of the calendar round moves ever onward. The light shifts, and the rhythms of the sun and the stars, of the Tzolk'in and Haab, continue their eternal journey. It is as though the very fabric of time itself is woven into the space around us, into the stones, the trees, the stars. Each cycle, each moment, is a part of the great dance of life, a dance that began long before us and will continue long after we are gone. We stand at the threshold of this eternal dance, gazing up at the stars, the faintest whispers of their ancient movement echoing in the stillness of the night. What if the dance of the calendar round is still happening right now, all around us and within us? Perhaps the cycles of time continue to move, even in the silence between our breaths. Perhaps in the quiet of our own lives, we too are part of this great dance, our steps weaving into the rhythm of the universe. Perhaps we are not separate from time, but a reflection of it, each of us a beat in the sacred music of existence. As the night deepens and the stars above shimmer softly in the sky, we are left with the quiet, peaceful sense that we are part of something much larger than ourselves. The cycles continue, the dance goes on, and we are carried forward in the eternal rhythm of the universe. The wheels of the calendar round turn, and we, like the stars, move in our own time, part of the vast cosmic dance. And perhaps in the end it is not the destination that matters, but the dance itself, the sacred eternal rhythm of existence that connects us all. And so, beneath the still sky, beneath the eternal turning of the stars, we drift into the quiet, knowing that time is not a thing to be understood, but a thing to be felt, to be experienced, a sacred dance that we are forever part of, whether we see it or not. Beneath the soft light of the setting sun, in a quiet corner of a jungle long untouched by time, there stands a temple, its walls worn and aged, their surfaces crumbled by centuries of rain and wind. The air here is thick with the weight of the past, heavy with silence. The jungle itself seems to hold its breath, as though waiting for something ancient to stir. The temple is empty, save for the soft rustling of leaves in the breeze. The light falls gently across the stone, revealing faded carvings, the remnants of knowledge that has been passed down for generations. In the heart of this temple, a figure sits alone, a daykeeper. The rhythmic breathing of this wise guardian is the only sound that fills the space. His hands rest lightly on the weathered stone tablet before him, tracing the intricate patterns of the Tzolk'in, the sacred 260-day calendar. His eyes are closed, his mind focused, as he moves slowly, deliberately through the sacred symbols etched into the stone. Each line, each curve holds a piece of the cosmos. It is said that these daykeepers, these guardians of time, understood the very rhythm of the universe, the cycles of the stars, the movements of the heavens, the hidden energies that shaped the world. The Tzolk'in is more than a calendar. It is a map of the soul's journey, a reflection of the divine that links the lives of the Maya to the stars above and the earth below. The daykeepers knew this. They understood that time was not just a sequence of moments, but a sacred dance, a rhythm that moved through everything, through the rise and fall of civilizations, through birth and death, through the cycle of the seasons. As the daykeeper traces the glyphs, we see that he is not simply marking the passing of time. He is interpreting it, feeling its pulse, listening for the whispers that lie hidden within each day. In this sacred stillness, the daykeeper connects with the divine, a conduit between the celestial forces and the people he serves. Beneath the silence of the temple, we begin to understand that the daykeepers were not merely observers of time, they were guides, holding the wisdom of the ages. Their role was not only to keep track of the days, but to guide their people through the cycles of life. They understood that prosperity and loss, birth and death, were all part of a greater rhythm, a sacred flow that could not be interrupted. And so the daykeepers spoke to their people, not in words, but in the language of time itself. With each passing day, they interpreted the messages hidden within the calendar, helping their people align with the natural forces that shaped their lives. The sacred Tzolk'in, with its intricate patterns, was the heartbeat of the Maya's understanding of time. Each day, each cycle held a specific energy, a divine force that shaped the lives of those who lived within it. The daykeepers, with their deep knowledge of the stars, the seasons, and the hidden energies of the calendar, guided their people through these cycles. They helped them navigate the changing tides of time, from the moments of prosperity to the moments of loss. They understood that time was not something to be feared, but something to be embraced. It was a gift, a sacred rhythm that flowed through all things. As we watch the daykeeper, we realize that his work is never finished. The cycles of time are endless, repeating in an eternal rhythm, each day offering a new opportunity for understanding, for growth, for alignment with the divine. The daykeeper's hands move slowly, reverently over the glyphs, as though each symbol is a key to unlocking a deeper mystery. And in the quiet of the temple, we are left to ponder, who are the daykeepers today? Who are the guardians of time in our own world? Perhaps the daykeepers are not gone. Perhaps they are simply waiting, hidden within the rhythms of our own lives, guiding us in ways we cannot yet see. It is said that the wisdom of the daykeepers is still present, that their knowledge still echoes in the very fabric of time. Perhaps, just as the daykeepers once guided the Maya, we too have a role to play in understanding the sacred rhythms of life. Perhaps we too are meant to listen to the whispers of time, to align ourselves with the cycles of nature, to find our place within the eternal dance of the cosmos. In the quiet of the temple, the daykeeper continues his work, his mind focused on the sacred rhythm that moves through the universe. The light outside has faded, and the jungle is now cloaked in shadow. But the temple remains, bathed in the soft glow of the moon, its ancient walls still holding the knowledge of the ages. And as we watch, we are left with a lingering question, a soft whisper that echoes in the stillness. What if the dance of time is still happening, right now, around us and within us? What if, like the daykeepers, we are called to listen, to understand, to align ourselves with the sacred rhythms of life? Perhaps it is not meant to be fully understood. Perhaps, like the daykeepers, we are meant to feel the rhythm, to listen to the whispers of time, to move with the cycles of the stars and the seasons. Some mysteries, after all, are not meant to be solved, but to be experienced, lived, felt and carried within us like a sacred song. And in the quiet of the night, as the jungle fades into the shadows and the stars above continue their eternal dance, we are left to wonder, who are the daykeepers today? And what role do we play in understanding the sacred rhythms that govern our lives? As the temple falls into silence once more, the daykeeper's hands rest gently on the stone. The calendar is not a tool to be used, but a map to be followed. The sacred rhythm of time continues, moving through us all whether we are aware of it or not. And perhaps in this stillness we will find our own place within the eternal dance of the calendar, guided by the whispers of the past and the knowledge of those who once walked this earth before us. The earth is still, and the world is draped in shadow. In the beginning, there was nothing but darkness, a deep primordial void that stretched endlessly, wrapped in silence, where even the stars had not yet found their place in the heavens. The air is thick with the weight of the unknown. No sun, no moon, no stars, only the whisper of something yet to be born. A quiet longing stirs within this emptiness, a yearning for light, for warmth, for life. And in this darkness, the gods gather in secret, speaking in the language of the unseen. They speak of creation, of the divine rhythm that stirs within the heart of the universe, ready to awaken. It is said that in this darkness, the gods began to weave the fabric of time itself. In the heart of the void, they brought forth the first spark, the first breath of life. They gathered the elements, earth, air, fire, and water, and set them into motion, each one responding to the pulse of the universe. Slowly, imperceptibly, the world began to take shape. From the shadows, the first glimmer of light appeared, a flicker, a spark, a promise of what was to come. And from this moment, the sun would rise. In the stillness of the night, we hear the echo of their work, the quiet hum of creation itself. The gods, in their wisdom, knew that the sun was not just a source of light, but a guide, a reflection of the divine cycles that would shape all existence. As the sun's light began to fill the empty sky, it was not simply the birth of a star, it was the beginning of a great rhythm, a rhythm that would govern the lives of those who would come after. The birth of the sun, according to the Maya, was the first heartbeat of time, the beginning of the great cycles that would be etched into the very fabric of their world. As we trace the sun's journey through the heavens, we begin to see how the Maya understood time. It was not a line stretching from past to future. No, time was a cycle, an endless dance between the heavens and the earth, between life and death, between light and shadow. The Maya saw the sun not just as a source of warmth, but as a mirror, reflecting the cycles of human destiny. Each day, as the sun rose in the east and set in the west, it marked the passage of time, but also the passage of the soul. Each sunrise a new beginning, each sunset a quiet end. The calendar round with its sacred symbols and cycles was a reflection of this divine rhythm. The Maya understood that the sun's journey was not merely a physical one, but a spiritual one. Each day, each moment held the possibility of transformation, of growth, of renewal. As the sun's light touched the earth, so too did its warmth touch the hearts of the Maya, guiding them through their own cycles of life. They saw themselves as part of the great cosmic dance, woven into the fabric of the universe, each soul following the path laid out by the sun's light. And so the gods created the sun, not just to bring light to the world, but to guide all who would walk beneath it. The sun became the mark of time itself, the divine rhythm that beat through all of creation. Each cycle of the sun reflected a larger cosmic pattern, one that stretched beyond human comprehension. The calendar round, which blended the Tzolk'in and Haab cycles, became the map by which the Maya navigated this rhythm, marking their days, their lives, their very existence by the rising and setting of the sun. The sun was more than a source of light, it was the heartbeat of existence, a rhythm that connected everything, from the smallest grain of sand to the farthest star. As we stand in the quiet of the night, the moon rising high above us, we feel the pull of this rhythm. We sense the turning of the great wheel, the eternal cycle of creation and destruction. The sun's creation was not a single event, but a living, breathing force that continues to shape our world. Perhaps, like the sun, we too are part of this divine rhythm, our lives, our journeys, unfolding in time with the turning of the calendar, the cycles of the seasons, the breath of the earth. We are part of something larger than ourselves, something sacred and eternal. Perhaps, like the Maya, we too are called to understand the rhythms of time, to listen to the whispers of the sun, the stars, and the earth, and to align ourselves with the sacred dance of the universe. For as the Maya believed, the sun's creation was not just the beginning of light, but the beginning of a larger divine pattern, a pattern that continues to unfold around us and within us. The stars above us twinkle softly, like the faint echoes of ancient voices, and in the quiet of the night we are left to ponder, what if the creation of the sun, like all creation, is part of a larger, eternal cycle? What if, just as the sun rises and sets, we too are born and reborn, carried forward by the eternal rhythm of the universe? Perhaps it was never meant to be fully understood, this great dance of creation, this sacred cycle of life and death, of light and shadow. Perhaps it is not the answers we seek, but the experience of the rhythm itself, the feeling of the sun's warmth on our skin, the quiet turning of the wheel, the sense that we too are part of something much greater than we can ever comprehend. Some mysteries are not meant to be solved, but to be felt, to be lived, and to be experienced as we move through the eternal dance of life under the watchful gaze of the sun. And so, as the moon casts its silver light across the world and the stars continue their eternal dance, we stand in quiet reverence, listening to the sacred rhythm of the cosmos. Perhaps, like the sun, we too are part of a larger cycle, a cycle that never ends but simply turns again and again in perfect harmony with the stars. And in this rhythm, in this eternal dance, we find our place just as the gods intended. In the stillness of the jungle, where the air feels thick with the weight of centuries, there stands a stone. Time has worn its surface, the edges softened by centuries of rain, wind, and the relentless embrace of the earth. The stone sits quietly at the center of an ancient city, once vibrant with the sounds of life, now only whispers in the wind. It is silent, but in its stillness it speaks. The stone is not just a relic of the past, it is a keeper of time itself. Etched into its surface is a calendar, intricate, precise, almost alive with the rhythms of the universe. Its lines, worn by the passage of countless seasons, trace the cycles of the stars, the movement of the sun, the dance of the moon. Each symbol, each curve tells the story of time, not as a linear path, but as a spiral, a sacred rhythm that echoes through the ages. The calendar etched in stone is not merely a tool to measure days. It is a language, a sacred code that speaks of a time when the heavens and earth were one, when time was understood not as a human invention, but as a divine force, woven into the very fabric of existence. We stand before the stone, feeling its weight, its quiet power. The air around it is still, as if the world itself holds its breath. The jungle hums softly in the distance, but here, beneath the canopy, there is only silence. We move around the stone, our fingers brushing lightly over the symbols, feeling the deep connection between the stone and the universe it reflects. Each line seems to pulse, not with the force of time, but with the force of something greater, the cosmic rhythm that governs all life, that governs the rise and fall of stars, the movement of seasons, the unfolding of existence itself. It is said that the Maya saw the calendar as more than a tool, more than a mere recording of time. To them, it was a sacred map, a reflection of the divine forces that shaped the world. As we trace the patterns carved into the stone, we are drawn into its silence. Each symbol seems to speak without words, calling us to understand the deep connections between time and life, between the stars and the earth. The calendar is not simply a reflection of days passing, it is a mirror of the cosmos, a map that guides the soul through the cycles of life and death. The stone, though ancient, is not lifeless. Its surface, worn by centuries, hums with an energy that transcends time, an energy that calls out from the depths of the universe. The calendar, etched so meticulously into the stone, is a language, one that speaks of creation, of birth, of death, and of rebirth. The calendar is not just a measurement, it is a sacred rhythm, a divine pattern woven into the very existence of all things. The deeper we move around the stone, the more we feel the weight of its meaning. The symbols, so carefully etched, seem to reach beyond the stone, beyond time itself. The calendar, we realize, is not merely a record of days, but a way of understanding the cosmic forces that shape our existence. It is not a human creation, but a reflection of the universe's eternal dance, a language that transcends language. Time, for the Maya, was not a tool to control or measure. It was a divine force, a rhythm to be followed, to be understood. The calendar was the key to unlocking the mysteries of life and death, to understanding the cycles of the heavens and the earth, to aligning the soul with the eternal pulse of the cosmos. As the light shifts in the jungle, casting long shadows across the stone, we pause. The stone remains silent, its mysteries waiting, patient. There is no hurry here. The stone has been waiting for centuries for someone to listen, for someone to understand. The silence is profound, and in this silence, we sense the depth of the wisdom it holds. Perhaps it is not meant to be understood all at once. Perhaps the stone's secrets are like the stars, hidden, waiting for the right moment, waiting for those who are ready to listen. We walk around the stone, tracing the lines once more, but now we see them differently. The calendar is not just a record of days, but a reflection of the divine rhythm that moves through everything. The rise and fall of civilizations, the cycles of the seasons, the birth and death of stars, all are part of the same pattern. The stone is a reminder that we are all part of this greater cycle, that we too are woven into the fabric of the universe. The stone calls us to listen, to understand the rhythm of time, to align ourselves with the sacred dance that moves through the cosmos. In the quiet of the jungle, beneath the ancient stone, we are left with a feeling of awe. The calendar, the stone, the silence, all speak of a time long past, but also of a time that continues to unfold. Perhaps the stone's secrets are not meant to be fully understood. Perhaps they are meant to be felt, experienced, lived. Some truths, after all, are not meant to be spoken, but to be known in the stillness, in the space between breaths. The calendar may be an ancient map, but its rhythms are eternal, ever present. The stone's silence speaks of a truth that transcends time, a truth that is hidden in plain sight, waiting for us to listen. And so, as the sun begins to dip below the horizon, casting a golden light across the ruins, we are left standing in the quiet of the temple. The stone remains before us, its surface worn, its symbols faded but still clear. We trace one final line, feeling the rhythm of the cosmos pulse beneath our fingers. The stone has been waiting for us to understand that time is not something we control, but something we move with, something we live in harmony with. Perhaps it was never meant to be found, this understanding, this secret of the calendar. Perhaps it is something that we must discover for ourselves in the quiet spaces of our lives, in the moments of stillness that connect us to the greater rhythm of the universe. Some voices only echo when we are ready to listen, and in the silence of the stone, we listen. In the silence of the night, where the air is thick with the weight of eternity, the earth hangs delicately in the vastness of the universe. A small, fragile sphere, suspended between the stars, spinning gently in the black sea of space. From this vantage, the world seems distant, almost unreal, like a dream slowly unfolding beneath the veil of time. Beneath the quiet hum of the universe, the Maya saw this place, their world, not as an isolated speck in the cosmos, but as part of a grand, interconnected web of existence. Time itself, they believed, was not merely a measurement of days, but a sacred rhythm that connected all things, the earth, the sun, the stars, and the heavens above. It is said that the Maya understood time in a way few others could grasp, for they saw it not as a line, but as a circle, a cosmic wheel, turning in perfect harmony with the movements of the universe. This understanding, etched in their calendar, was a map, a guide to navigating the invisible threads that connected all things. The calendar was not just a record of days, it was a reflection of the cosmic forces that governed the world. Each cycle, each movement mirrored the journey of the sun, the moon, the stars, a journey that never ended but simply returned, again and again, like the turning of the wheel. The earth, bathed in the quiet light of distant stars, seems to pulse with life, the thread of time running through every breath of wind, every shift of the earth beneath our feet. We imagine the Maya standing here beneath the canopy of stars, feeling the pulse of time in their bones. For them, time was not something they controlled, but something they moved with, a rhythm, a song, a dance that connected them to the very essence of existence. The calendar they created was not merely a tool, it was a sacred instrument, one that guided their understanding of the world and their place within it. As we follow the path of the calendar, we begin to understand its deeper meaning. The cycles it tracks are not isolated, they are part of a larger eternal pattern. Each day, each month, each year is a beat in the cosmic dance, a step in the rhythm that binds the earth to the heavens. The Maya believed that time was like a circle, turning endlessly, always returning to itself, and that each cycle, each movement was an opportunity to align with the divine forces that shaped the world. The calendar, with its intricate web of cycles, was a map to understanding these forces, a guide to walking in harmony with the cosmos. And as we move through the cycles of the calendar, we come to realize that the Maya did not see time as something external, something separate from themselves. Time was a force they were part of, a force that moved through them, around them, and with them. The calendar was not just a way of measuring the passing of days, it was a way of understanding their place in the universe. They believed that just as the sun rises and sets, and the moon waxes and wanes, their lives too moved in cycles, cycles of birth and death, of creation and destruction, of light and shadow. These cycles were not to be feared, but embraced, for they were part of the greater cosmic rhythm, the eternal dance of existence. The Maya saw the earth as a living being, its cycles mirrored by the movements of the heavens. The sun's journey across the sky was not just a daily event, it was a divine journey, a reflection of the soul's passage through time. The sun's rise in the east, its journey across the heavens, and its setting in the west were not merely the mechanics of nature, they were sacred movements, symbolic of the cycles of life. The moon, too, was a guide, its cycles a reflection of the unseen forces that shaped the world. The stars, like the sun and moon, were not distant objects, but intimate companions, each one a reflection of the divine order that governed the cosmos. As we trace the path of the calendar, we begin to feel its rhythm in our own bodies, the pulse of time moving through us, connecting us to the greater whole. The Maya believed that through their calendar they could align themselves with the divine rhythm, moving in harmony with the forces of the universe. Each day was an opportunity to listen, to feel the pulse of the cosmos, and to align themselves with its sacred patterns. The calendar was not just a tool for tracking time, it was a sacred language, one that spoke to the very essence of existence. The calendar's cycles were not static, they were dynamic, always moving, always returning. Each cycle built upon the last, each movement a part of the larger cosmic dance. The Maya believed that this cyclical nature of time reflected the eternal nature of the universe itself. Just as the sun rises and sets, so too does life begin and end, only to begin again, in an endless, eternal rhythm. Time was not a straight line to be followed, but a circle to be danced, each step, each turn, a part of the greater movement of the cosmos. As the moon rises in the sky, casting its soft glow over the earth, we are left with a quiet reflection. The calendar, with its sacred rhythms and cycles, speaks to something deeper than mere time. It speaks to the essence of existence itself, the endless dance between light and dark, between birth and death, between the seen and the unseen. The Maya saw time as a force to be moved with, not controlled. And as we stand here, beneath the moon's glow, we too are drawn into the rhythm of the cosmos. And in the stillness of the night, we are left to wonder, are we too part of this cosmic circle? Are we too caught in the eternal dance of time, moving with its rhythms, returning to its cycles? Perhaps we too are part of something much larger than ourselves, a part of the great cosmic wheel, turning, turning, in perfect harmony with the stars. Perhaps the Maya were right, and time is not something we measure, but something we live, a rhythm, a song, a dance that connects us to the heavens and the earth, to the past and the future, to all that is and all that will be. And in this quiet moment, beneath the moon's gaze, we listen to the pulse of the cosmos, waiting to join in the eternal dance of time. Perhaps, in the end, it is not the question of whether we are lost in the cycles of time, but whether we are ready to listen, to move with the cosmic circle, and to find our place within its endless, beautiful rhythm. The temple is alive with silence, a silence so profound that it feels like the air itself is waiting. The heavy, ancient stones rise from the earth, their surfaces worn and weathered by the relentless flow of time. The temple is shrouded in shadow, its corridors long and winding, echoing with the soft murmur of a distant past. A flickering torch casts dim light against the walls, illuminating intricate carvings that tell stories of forgotten gods and celestial movements. But it is not the carvings that hold our attention. It is the figure standing alone at the heart of the temple, bathed in the sacred glow of the torchlight. This figure is a keeper, draped in simple robes that whisper in the stillness. In one hand he holds a scroll, its edges frayed from centuries of use. In the other he grips the sacred codex of the Mayan calendar, its pages delicate, turning in an endless cycle, as if the very fabric of time is woven into the parchment. It is said that the keeper's role is both sacred and silent, to preserve the mysteries of time, to interpret the ancient symbols, and to maintain the knowledge that binds the Maya to the divine. The codex, etched with symbols of the cosmos, stretches back to the beginning of creation and points forward to the end of days. Its pages mark the rhythm of the universe, the sacred count that governs all existence. The keeper moves with reverence, his fingers brushing softly against the worn pages. With each turn, the sacred count continues, a cycle that loops back upon itself, endless and eternal. Each page holds the key to understanding not only the past, but the future. As we watch him, we understand that the calendar is more than a record of days. It is a living, breathing entity, a spiritual map that guides the Maya through the currents of time, from the moment of creation to the farthest reaches of the universe. The calendar binds the people to the divine, connecting the cycles of life to the movements of the stars, to the rising and setting of the sun, to the eternal rhythms of existence. In the quiet of the temple, the keeper speaks to no one. He does not need to. The codex in its sacred silence speaks for him. With every movement of the pages, we hear the hum of time, a sound that stretches beyond the confines of the temple, beyond the earth itself, into the very fabric of the cosmos. The calendar is a sacred language, one that has been passed down through generations, kept alive by the hands of those who understand its divine power. The keeper's role is not just to preserve the calendar, but to ensure its wisdom remains intact. For in these sacred numbers and symbols lies the truth of all things, the beginning, the middle, and the end of time. We journey deeper into the mystery of the keeper's role, feeling the weight of time pressing around us. The calendar, like the stars themselves, is a reflection of the divine, a mirror that shows the Maya their place in the universe. Each cycle of the calendar is a reflection of a greater cosmic rhythm, a dance between the earth, the heavens, and the stars. The keeper is not merely a scribe or priest, he is a guide, a bridge between the divine and the mortal, a witness to the eternal dance of time. His role is one of immense responsibility, for the calendar holds the power to guide not only individuals, but entire civilizations through the great cycles of life and death. As we stand with the keeper, we feel the deep reverence he holds for the calendar, for the sacred knowledge it contains. His hands move delicately, reverently over the pages, tracing the symbols that mark the passage of time. Each mark on the page is a story, a truth that has been passed down through the ages, from the gods to the people, and from generation to generation. The keeper knows that this knowledge is not his own, but belongs to the divine forces that shaped the universe. He is but a vessel, a keeper of secrets, ensuring that the sacred count is preserved, that the rhythms of time continue to echo through the lives of the Maya. The temple grows quieter still, the only sound the faint rustle of the keeper's robes as he turns another page. The light from the flickering torch casts long shadows across the walls, where the ancient symbols glow faintly, as if alive with the wisdom of the ages. The keeper pauses, his hand hovering over a particular set of glyphs, his fingers tracing their shape. It is said that these symbols represent the turning of the great wheel, the cycles of creation and destruction, life and death. The keeper understands that the calendar is not merely a tool to measure time, but a divine map, a reflection of the universe's eternal rhythm. Each turn of the wheel is a step in the dance of existence, and it is the keeper's responsibility to ensure that the cycle continues, unbroken. As the keeper continues his work, we begin to feel the weight of the calendar's meaning. Time is not a distant concept, a mere abstraction. It is a living force, one that shapes everything around us, from the smallest grain of sand to the farthest star. The calendar is a reflection of this force, a guide that connects the earth, the heavens, and the human soul. It is a language, a sacred rhythm that speaks of the divine forces that govern all existence. The keeper, in his quiet reverence, listens to this rhythm, aligning himself with it, ensuring that the Maya continue to live in harmony with the cycles of the universe. As the night deepens and the torch flickers low, the keeper closes the codex. The sacred count, for the moment, rests. The temple remains silent, the air thick with the weight of ancient knowledge. The keeper does not speak, for there is no need to. The silence is profound, filled with the echoes of a truth that stretches far beyond time, beyond the earth, beyond the stars. The calendar, like all creation, is part of a larger eternal cycle. The keeper's work is not finished. It will continue, passed down to the next generation as it has been passed down for centuries. And as we stand in the quiet of the temple, beneath the watchful gaze of the stars, we are left with a question, one that lingers in the stillness. Who keeps the sacred count today? What truths do we still hold in our hands? Perhaps, like the keeper, we are all part of something larger than ourselves, a sacred rhythm that moves through us and with us, binding us to the universe, to the divine, to the eternal dance of time. Perhaps it was never meant to be fully understood. Some voices only echo when we are ready to listen. And in this quiet, sacred silence, we listen. And so, as the echoes of the Mayan world slowly fade, we return to the present moment, carrying with us the quiet wisdom of an ancient civilization. The Mayans did not fear time, they honored it, seeing each day as part of an endless cycle, a gentle turning of creation itself. If this story has helped you relax or drift closer to sleep, you're always welcome to return. This is Twilight Tale, where history whispers softly and the past watches over your dreams. Good night, and may time move gently for you.